Recording. All right, guys. Today we're playing Grixis Death Shadow. Some of the changes from some of the stock lists are including four copies of Lightning Bolt in the main deck and trying out Magmatic Channeler. This is to give the deck a little more of a proactive game plan. We can now have Bolt as an ability to give a little extra reach, go phase. We can bolt ourselves in the unfair matchups to speed up our shadows, improve our clock. We're not losing any of the explosiveness because the cards we're cutting are things like Fatal Push, Drown in the Lock, reactive cards, the fourth copy of Gurmag Angler that could be a dead draw. And just trying to be more consistent in putting our game plan out there. In the sideboard, some of the current test cards are like a copy of Ceremonious Rejection. I've said before that I think Tron's on the rise. I keep seeing Tron and E-Tron in leagues, especially E-Tron. So I think that one copy of Ceremonious Rejection is going to do well. Two copies of Cleansing Wildfire, great against Tron, great against 5-color Niv to Light, great against... It's okay against E-Tron, it's not great. Great against Amulet Titan. Decks like that, some of the big mana decks. Two copies of Terminate, answer everything from Thought-Knot Seers, Reality Smashers, Stormwing Entities, Opposing Shadows and Gurmag Anglers, Tarmogoyf, any little annoying creature you can come up with. Our sweeper effects, two copies of Kozilek's Return, Engineered Explosives, and Plague Engineer. Conveniently enough, all hit Auriok Champion, which is a nightmare for this deck. It's a little bit less so for like the Jund variants that are running Hex Drinker, Tarmogoyf, good bodied green creatures that can swing through it. Here we are not. We've either got to swing around it, swing over the top of it with Battle Rage, or get it off the board. And then finally, a copy of Mana Leak, good catch-all counter spell. Two copies of Nihil Spellbomb, our Grave Interaction, and then K-Command, Collective Brutality. K-Command for the grindy matchups where we really want to get our creatures back, where Hand Disruption's key, and then Collective Brutality for matchups like Burn, Control, where you just need to steal a spell out of hand, potentially drain a little life. Alright, so I think that's it for the deck. So let's go ahead and jump into our first league of the day. What kind of events do we have coming up soon? Super Qualifier. That sounds fancy. Kaldheim foil set. Well, we could probably end up playing in that. Let's see, we've got challenges. We've got preliminaries. All sorts of stuff coming up this week. But today, we're going to be boring and play leagues. Alright. Checklist doing its job, right? It was a great idea. I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. I've got everything. I've got, like, after we go over the deck tech and the testing cards, we get to play our league, then we get to have a recap period, how the league go, how the matchups go, what kind of changes are we making, and then we get to end the recording. So the stream keeps going, but it stops recording for this individual league. And then I can just like upload that recording and not the entire VOD of the stream. Alright, win the die roll. Hand's great. Thoughtseize into Channeler. Looks pretty solid. We don't know what we're up against. So I don't know if I want to fetch Shock or if I want to be conservative. Of note, we don't have a basic mountain in the deck. So if I like fetch Shock Watery Grave with the Bloodstained Mire, I can't fetch a basic mountain to cover all my colors and get Channeler down. So I think because of that, I could get Blood Crypt first and just kind of say like I'm not planning on casting this one of these Thought Scours next turn anyway, but I think I am going to do that. Just get Blood Crypt, Thoughtseize. It just gives me the option to get a basic island next turn to Magmatic Channeler. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to want to lose the life or not. Alright. So good old green-white Heliod. With a whole bunch of mana. Does that mean I want to take... like Arbor Elf into Utopia Sprawl? This is gonna give them a turn 2 Collected Company if I don't take that. So I think that's what I have to do. I think I have to just take the Collected Company and try to fight through this Auriok Champion. If I had a removal spell, or if I had a Stubborn Denial, I might take the Auriok Champion and try to fight the company. But since I don't, I'm just going to take it. Move on. Let's see, ever try transposing the Arcanist Stitcher Supplier package into Modern instead of Snap and Thought Scour? I have not. And I guess to me it seems like it would be a little underwhelming. Mainly because like Stitcher Supplier in the deck isn't really a legitimate threat. You would just be using it as an enabler and it doesn't replace itself. Partimore, no more Jund Shadow. Well, this is just like the first day we've streamed since the PTQ. And one of our subs really wanted to see Grixis, so I'm A-okay playing Grixis. Skyclave Apparition. Alright, so push would cut down on the mana production a lot. By just taking out this elf. How important is getting down Channeler this turn? I think I'd rather get down Channeler than push the elf. Like, I know my opponent's last card is Auriok Champion. I'm going to have to fight through that anyway. You know, they've got basically infinite mana. Second Skyclave Apparition. Alright. So, like, Gurmag Angler, I was going to say, would be a really good draw here. So let's knock some of those out. Say go. Thank you, opponent. So now we get to Fatal Push one of these apparitions, make a 2/2, and block the Auriok Champion. All right. Stone Rain off the top one time. Just an easy little Stone Rain. Well, go with Scour. Okay. So they could bounce around some counters. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world for me. Like, they've got 6 power. They hit again? Okay. Opponent doesn't believe in whiffing. But we're just like a shadow off the top from being in a really great spot, right? Can we get Massacre printed into Modern? I wouldn't complain about a Massacre right now. It's the first time anybody said that in history. No attacks. Okay. So we've got Snap Push available. So I'm going to keep chugging in with Gurmag, because the closer we get them to Battle Rage range, the better. If they top deck like a creature, I can't do anything to stop it anyway. So I could go block on one of these. Like block here. Let them move counters. Then we'll Snap Push. What am I pushing? I kind of want to just push the Skyclave just to get an extra body over here attacking. I could also push one of these Spike Feeders so they could get the counters out of the way. Like, it's probably better to just push this one, right, while they can't move all the counters. Like, they can either gain 2 life, they can move 1 counter, like, back to the other Spike Feeder, but it's going to die to state-based actions. Really hoping this last card's not like a company. That'd be rough. Alright. Just pass on to my turn. Alright. What do we got? One, two, three, four, five, six. So let's fire off Inquisition. Yep. I'll trade. Well, I guess Snapcaster would get eaten by the elf. So there's not really a big reason to attack with the Snapcaster. They can just, like, untap. Or no, they'd be one short. No, that's 4. Yeah, they could untap this, make 4 mana, use Spike Feeder twice to move 2 counters over to Arbor Elf. Like, after blocks are declared. Alright. Now, opponent. Top deck of Collected Company. I was kidding. Is this just like a big ballista? Archangel of Moon. Why do you do this? Why must you be this way? Opponent, you remember that time we were having such a good game? Then you just had to Thune. Didn't expect that card. They've been playing it as a one-of for a little while now. Like, I mean, it's pretty solid, right? You just get to have another Oops, I Win card with Spike Feeder. And it's really good at the moment since so many people are, like, focused on getting Heliod off the board. They're often ignoring Spike Feeder. Alright. How deep on the removal train do I want to go? Probably not K-Command deep. Alright, I would love to play first. I think I'm gonna have to ship this. I've got a Scry and Scour, but like no removal spells when I just boarded in like 8 removal. Alright, this is fine. So just looking for ways to like lower my life total, see more spells. Just going to try to slow them down for a couple turns here. So, am I just like bolting myself playing Shadow? Gurmag Angler on the top. Bolt myself, play Shadow. Next turn, play Gurmag. I think that's probably fine. It's like I'm not bolting anything until turn 4. And that's if they play Company. I was going to say, if they had a path there, I'd be pretty sad. Giant Killer. Alright. I don't care about Inquisition because I know about Veil, but I want to keep Lightning Bolt for Snapcaster. This also has the fun added benefit of representing Fatal Push or Stubborn Denial. It looks like our opponent whiffed on land, which is huge for us. Yep. If I EE, what am I EEing on? I gotta think about mana efficiency here. So, like, if I don't cast EE and they play Heliod, and then I play EE the turn after that to try to get ahead of Company, they just get a Company turn while I'm tapped out if I don't, like, EE on 2 and hit a 4th land. So I could go ahead and EE for 2 and just say, like, I think Auriok Champion is what beats me from here. I think I'm going to go with that, actually. I'm just going to say, like, I'm not going to let you stop me from attacking. Alright. So nab game 2, go to game 3 on the draw. Yeah, two hits Auriok, 3 hits Spike Feeder. If they play Spike Feeder, they can represent comboing the following turn. But I get to, like, attack and at least force a chump block. So 3 stops the combo, 2 stops them from, like, stopping me in my tracks. Alright. Brutality on the draw is probably too slow. I kind of want an extra Wraith, but over what? Maybe over a Snapcaster. Especially if I'm expecting, like, Scavenging Ooze. Let's go like this. Wagner, how's it going? Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday. Ooh, close. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, it's a turn 2 shadow, but it's a turn 2 shadow with no hand disruption. But if they've got Veil of Summer, then hand disruption doesn't really matter anyway. I think I gotta ship this. I think I can do better. Think I can do better, got better. Alright, so I've got to decide between keeping a second threat or staying efficient. So let's say I toss back Gurmag. Then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of life loss. Another Wraith or third land gets Shadow online. I've got 1, 2, 3 cards in the graveyard, 2 lands, so I'm two mana sources away from a Gurmag off the top. If I put back Bauble, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points of life loss. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 mana sources, 3 off of Gurmag. I'm on the draw with a Wraith. The high upside play would be put back Steam Vents, which probably isn't the worst idea in the world. Like, I'm on the mulligan against an unfavored matchup. I probably just have to high roll. So I just want to see second fetch land. I don't think I'm thought seizing into like what's probably an obvious Veil of Summer. Oh, Steam Vents. Steam Vents, Steam Vents, Steam Vents. Am I being mana efficient here and bolting myself? No, because if I draw a fetch land, which we do not, I would have liked to have played the fetch land out there. Wagner, we have 4 Boltzmann. Yes, we do. They're really wanting to stick to this Veil plan, aren't they? Yeah. Clint coming in with a 7-month resub. Thank you so much. One of the OGs. Alright. Let's just take our 3, play another shadow here. Clint, have you kept up with all of our new emotes? They're pretty dope. I kind of want to like have this bolt for just a surprise attack through, kill them. I've not been off Magic for a while. You haven't been missing a whole lot. Like, we had some big bans in Modern like a week ago. Or not a week ago, a couple weeks ago. What am I saying? And that's helped out a lot. Alright. Spike Feeder, sure. Fetch land. Not a fetch land. So I do need to kill one of these before my opponent's next turn, because I don't want them to have the ability to like remove counters, add them back to Spike Feeder. So I'm going to continue to not play into this this Veil of Summer. And I just bolt this now. Yeah. The Angler is dope. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Angler as well. Company, yep. So they do tap down off of Veil or for this. If they don't have another land. So can we get a fetch land off the top? Giant killer. Pretty good. Do hit our fetch land. So, what am I doing with this? So let's start by crashing in. Double block a shadow. Interesting. So we'll fetch and shock. So at least get both of these ranger captains off the board. And we'll go... Am I playing Gurmag? Yeah. We'll kind of like represent Lightning Bolt here. Thank you, opponent. And hope we don't die. Do you have Heliod Spike Feeder? That's not Heliod Spike Feeder. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Alright, 1-0. On to match number 2. I thought that went pretty well. Little sketchy here and there. Overall, fine. Fine. If opponent didn't have the Veil of Summer, they did a really good job of bluffing it. But I don't think we had a spot where we really had to, like, try to call that bluff. Like, we could afford to just play out shadows and bolt ourselves, bolt them, bolt whatever. And that was fine. That damn deck is a nightmare. It's a weird one for sure. The lightning bolts in the deck make it a lot better for us. Like, with just pushes, the matchup's pretty miserable. But the bolts being able to get around Veil and kill stuff, and like we saw that match, bolt ourselves to get Shadow online, is pretty nice. Harry 13. Pretty sure last time I played them, they were on, what, Amulet maybe? Yep. Could be a mirror. Take Stubborn Denial. What does Take Stubborn Denial signal to me? Is it a combo deck? It's Inverter. Okay. We'll take the Inverter then. Opponent's hand is not particularly intimidating. Now we know their top deck. So I assume it's either Wraith or Thought Scour. I think they need to, like, slow us down from hitting a threat. When did you switch to Pioneer? Well, you see, you weren't paying attention for the time I've been in Modern. I just kind of, like, jumped over real quick. It says modern shadow, but it's actually historic shadow. Alright. Bobble's not the worst. I get a little Bobble Scry on myself here with this Thought Scour. Bobble reveals Bobble, as is tradition. Ugh. Yeah. So let's pass. It's a horrible matchup for them. It's a horrible matchup for them if we can, like, take advantage. But at the moment, we're not taking advantage. So... kind of just seeing if I can nab something here. So I get to get a Thassa's Oracle and an Inverter. That's a pretty good set of draws off an Archmage's Charm. Not gonna lie. Are we doing it? Are we magicking? These basics are really sweet though. Looks like new secret layer basics. Alright. So you may play the exile card without paying its mana cost if a library has 20 or fewer cards in it. So if they Inverter, they get to play that for free. Yeah, I'm really impressed with our opponent's basics. Alright. Two turns. Two turns, and if you top deck an Inverter, I can swing through it. Alright, so I need to find a way to lose life here. Then I can bolt the Oracle, swing through for lethal. Opponent is empty-handed. Did they keep a card? Yes. That works. And I would like to Heliod in the face. I might need to pick up some of those lands. Those are prime. Alright, Inverter combo. Rejection and Mana Leak are both great. Rejection hits Inverter, which for anybody who doesn't know is a devoid card, so it is actually colorless. Brutality's good here. Spellbomb is actually really good. So the way that the combo works is Inverter of Truth exiles your library and your graveyard becomes your library. So with Nihil Spellbomb, if you exile their graveyard with like an Inverter trigger on the stack, they have to kill you with Thassa's Oracle that turn. They can't set up a turn or set up a kill for like a future turn. So they have to have Oracle in hand. What are we boarding out? Pushes are bad. Dismembers are pretty bad. I like the bolts being able to go face. Wagner, yeah, K-Command's an option. I just feel like we're winning on the mana front. So I don't want to bring in too much that just, like, slows down our primary plan. So probably Battle Rage could come out if we are just expecting a bunch of removal. Maybe like 1K command in. Or do we want to Battle Rage on the draw? I guess K Command's fine. You can always hit like a Relic of Progenitus or something to make their combo turns awkward. Alright. No hand disruption on turn 1A. Well, opponent, I do. Opt eliminate Jace, Wielder of Mysteries. I think I can fight through the eliminate. I'm going to choose not to give my opponent more draws. Spreading Seas. A little annoying, but sure. Not a card I particularly expected. But fine. Alright. So Mana Leak's a pretty good pickup here. Let's get Blood Crypt. Thoughtseize them. So still Jace eliminate. Do I want to take the Jace? Here, I've got Mana Leak, but I guess I'd rather just like... Yeah, I'll just take the eliminate. Play to the upside of finding a creature and mana leaking the Jace. So that's Shelldock Isle down. So we know Watery Grave, Flooded Strand, Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, and an unknown card for turn. Like, taking the eliminate gets a lot worse if they draw a hand disruption spell before they play the Jace, but it's a lot better otherwise. Threat. Not quite. So let's go Spellbomb, Delta Pass. Gets a lot worse if they draw hand disruption off the top. Me, moments before disaster. Spellbombing like makes Inverter a lot better. But I kind of need to find a threat, right? What deck's opponent playing? They're playing a blue-black Inverter. Blue-black Inverter combo. Inverter of Truth, Thassa's Oracle. Alright. Channeler, despite his minuscule appearance, does allow me to knock this Jace down a peg, which is nice. And that's a real threat. So, let's go ahead and hit down Jace. Lightning Bolt Jace in the face. Play Gurmag. And I'm going to hold this island in hand because maybe I want to pitch it to Channeler next turn. I don't know. I don't really have a need to play it out, so we're just going to kind of hang on to it, see what happens. Cycle Fetid Pools, sure. So this is kind of what I'm talking about with Spell Bomb versus Inverter. Is our opponent can't just like go for an Inverter and try to set up a kill on a future turn with Spell Bomb out. Opponent's got swamps. Well, they need 6 mana, which they have, but they also need both Inverter and Thassa's Oracle in hand, which they haven't had any, like, scries or anything to set up. So if they've got it, they've got it. If their last card is exactly Inverter, or exactly Thassa's Oracle. But it looks like they're just trying to set up kill me with Inverter next turn. That's what it looks like. Just shuffle these fetch lands back into the deck. That's not a bad one. It's not great here. If they block this Gurmag Angler, it's pretty huge. Alright. So now I get to snap bolt the Inverter. Please don't dispel me, opponent. I was kidding. I was kidding. Why no snap Seize? Because I was dead to an Inverter of Truth attack on my next turn. I had to get this off the board. I just didn't think they actually played this. Yeah, he is flying. Like, I had no idea their deck actually played Dispel. I was joking. So I guess we got to bring a push or two back in. It's a 1 of. Don't tell me that. Tell me it's like a 10 of. Yeah, they blew like 17 of those Dispels. It's only natural they had one. It's always like the worst feeling in the world, right? When you lose to a card and somebody in the peanut gallery is like, yeah, that's a 1 of. Like, of course it is. You didn't have to tell me. I know my luck. Played a couple leagues with the deck, not the same as the Pioneer deck. Dig Through Time is a hell of a card. Nothing comes close to replacing that in Modern. I had the entire deck together in Pioneer before quarantine hit, and I just never got to play it in a paper event. Like, I've got all the stuff for it sitting around somewhere. Just hoping that Inverter spikes for some reason. What is the price on Inverter right now? Goldfish. For everybody hanging out in the channel, appreciate y'all coming by and checking out the Death Shadow action. If you haven't gotten the update yet, the YouTube channel has changed. So the link down below the video feed here does link to the new YouTube channel, which is just the Space Control Freak. If you were like subscribed to the old channel, there's not going to be any new leagues or content posted to that one. So make sure you go down there and like go see what the new channel looks like so you can find it later, or subscribe if you want to, whatever. But it'll help you find content in the future. I had it together in Pioneer and won a store championship thing with it. Got a polo with my name in it and 150 store credit. Yeah, the inverters definitely paid for themselves in that situation. I got mine. We played a tournament in where was it? Atlanta. And I top 8'd and used my store credit to like buy everything for Inverter. Pedro, you need an editor like Spike to cut your sessions into leagues. Well, if you'd been to the new YouTube channel, hold on, I'll just show you. I have been working to improve this content thing. Thank you very much. So, new channel. Going back through and uploading some of the videos. These were like the old ones. Don't worry so much about those. But the newer ones are broken down into individual leagues. Everything is time-stamped for matchups. Premier events like the PTQ we just played this past weekend are time-stamped for deck techs, final thoughts, individual matchups, final record, matchups, matchup results. Yeah. I hear you. It was really unorganized. I wasn't a huge fan of it either. But I went back through and tried to take the time to like update as much as I could so that we would have a good, solid Death Shadow YouTube channel. Coming at me with this, oh, you need to do this and that. Like, I'm not trying over here. I try to please you. You just won't let me. No, I just thought it was funny because, like, that's what I've been working on, like, the last 2 days is getting things updated so that, like, we would get the YouTube straightened out so everything there would make sense. We've got, starting, I think, tomorrow, we're going to have live stream Facebook and YouTube simultaneously with Twitch. So that's going to be cool. What else? There's something else. I forgot what it was. Oh, we're going to have music soon. We've got a copyright-free music option. So we're going to be able to start doing that on the channel. Damnation. What in damnations? Steven, you're a saint. Yeah, Steven's been having to listen to me complain about, like, time stamping videos and getting all of that up to date. Alright. I'm going to wait until my opponent's turn to Thought Scour. Because if they just, like, draw an Inverter, I'd rather Ceremonious Rejection it than, let it resolve. We've got one unknown in hand right now. We've got two unknowns in hand. So we're looking for Thoughtseize, Threat, not land. Alright, Threat. Threat holding up a bunch of counter magic might be okay. The metal lands are pretty cool. Picked up one each for shadow decks. They do look really sweet. Like, I'm impressed with these. I wasn't impressed with like Assassin's Trophy and Dreadbore and like those metal Metal Art Secret Lair cards, but I am really impressed with these. Damnations. What in damnation? Alright. Relic of Progenitus. This is fine. Because this doesn't say kill my shadow. So I basically don't care about it. So I'm going to go to my turn before I fetch or anything. Punish our opponent heavily for not cracking Relic. And then we attack in. Yeah, I'm going to attack in for the full 9. The reason being, if my opponent decides to crack Polluted Delta plus another fetch, it would make Gurmag lethal. So maybe we can restrict mana. Clint, gonna get back to the Tarkov grind. Catch you later. Take it easy. Thanks again for the 7-month resub. Greatly appreciate it. Might have to check out Tarkov if we're putting subscriptions on the line. Got to get someone to send me a Seb swamp from the US. Those swamps are pretty sweet, I will admit. Do you still recommend the same Jund list from the PTQ? I think it's really solid. Bench Summer played it in a couple leagues this past week and had some updates to it that I thought were good. So I'd probably check out his list. Do I care about this? What is this doing? Don't tell me that. I'll definitely buy my friends. No, do I care about this Jace? Or is this like a bait Jace? Because like Jace itself, I know doesn't do anything this turn. And I guess if they go Jace into like Thassa's Oracle, that's the only way that they're getting a blocker, but that means they're throwing out a Thassa's Oracle. So that would mean I think this is Jace, Oracle, Inverter. They play Jace here, tick up on me. Play Inverter, or play Thassa's Oracle. I attack, they chump block with the Oracle. Next turn, they play Inverter. Flip over their deck, win with Jace or Oracle. So if that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and use all of my mana, stub this, and have rejection for the Inverter next turn. So we're 2 for 2 so far. With thinking they were going to follow up with Oracle for the chump block. Life loss I don't think matters. So they chump block with this. And now Inverter isn't an out. It has to be like Inverter plus removal spell. But I get to counter the Inverter. Okay. Pedro will be right back. Dinner. But, Deft. Let me see if I can pull up Pedro's list real quick. Not Pedro's, Bench's. Let me see if I can pull someone random's list up. Somewhere here. So, can we get sideboard? Alright. So, Bench's list includes like 2 copies of Blightning that are in the board. There's 2 Blightnings in the K command are all in the sideboard. Everything else is in the main. I think the main deck is the same 60 that I ran. The difference is the sideboard, he chose to run the 2 Blightnings since my 2 losses were like control matchups. Cut the 3rd Veil of Summer, cut the 2nd K command, and added in 2 Cleansing Wildfires over Ashiok and something else. Like, in my playing, Cleansing Wildfire wasn't enough for something like Tron. We just weren't killing them quick enough. And then Blightning I haven't tried yet. So I've got no opinions there. But, like, yeah, Wildfire, in my experience with this Jund list, we're not as explosive as a lot of the other, like, Street Wraith Shadow builds. So, Tron has time to rebuild off of, like, 1 Tron land getting beat or get time to get, what's it called, Blast Zone if you're running like Alpine Moon. So honestly, I think the best way to beat Tron with like this version is something like Blood Moon out of the board if you're just wanting to beat Tron. Otherwise, I think you're spending slots to not improve a matchup percentage-wise as much as you'd kind of want to. See, I missed a follow. Lord3294, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you coming by and hanging out. See, I can get behind Jund for Goy, Forensics, Hexdrinker, and Luris, but Stubborn Denial is so good. I agree. I think that the the matchups I lost in the PTQ, I would have won if I had access to Stubborn Denial, or I would have had a much better chance. That being said, I also think there were matches the PTQ that I won just because I had more threats to play out. So it's kind of like hit and miss there. I wonder if that Inverter deck is better or worse than the Angel's Grace Unlife Spoils version. Probably matchup dependent, right? Like, it's probably better against the aggressive decks, because you just, or that version is worse against the aggressive decks because you're not running, like you said, Unlife, Spoils, Angel's Grace, but probably better against the like combo control decks because you're actually getting like counter spells and stuff. Yeah, we'll keep it on the draw. They're a Luris deck, so it could be a Shadow Mirror. A year back, he used to play the Royal Scions and Grixis Shadow, and it was gas. Don't know. Ooh, that's a bunch of baubles. Royal Scions is definitely good. I just think the meta is a little too hostile for it right now. So I could go Thoughtseize. I think that's what I'm doing. Just like try to take them off their next play. And if they spend like this turn leveling up Hex Drinker twice, I get to untap, bolt it. I come out with like the mana advantage. Play the land I don't know about. Second Hex Drinker. Alright, land. Almost. Knew which card I always played as a pet card. Drown in the Lock. Being almost never dead is a very good. I love Drown in the Lock. Like, I will live by that card, die by that card. That being said, Drown in the Lock is dead occasionally. Where, like, Bolt is never dead. Like, you can always go face somewhere with a bolt. So, assume this is Fetch, Shock, Shadow. Still aren't playing the land we know about. So, am I going Fetch, Shock, Shadow, Shadow? They've got two cards in hand. I know one of them is dead. Because it's that Fetch land. Second option is Thoughtseize my opponent, play out a Shadow. I think it's just Fetch, Shock, Shadow, Shadow. Like, they can level up Hex Drinker, but I'm kind of hoping that they're just not going to be alive after next turn. Let's see. Only thing I don't like about Drown is when you got to decide to Thought Scour the opponent. I basically never Thought Scoured my opponent. Every now and then, if, like, I was game 2 or something against Titan, I might. But for the most part, I kind of relied on removal and hand disruption to get cards into my opponent's graveyard. Lures to hand. Yep. So I would like to see a land off the top. Any land. Alright, am I supposed to just be going for it? Oh, did they play this Bloodsamer? When did I miss that? So... like, I can go for the Battle Rage and get the kill this turn if they don't have anything. I could not go for the Battle Rage and go for, like, Thoughtseize, pass, hold up, stub. They have to have exactly Fatal Push to not die to Battle Rage. They didn't level up Hex Drinker on their turn. And held up Catacombs. So I think I'm going to go Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize plus stub. Alright. So they did, in fact, have nothing. This is still fine. Opponent doesn't have attacks. They've drawn Lightning Bolt. Assume this is Crack Peat land. Yep. So we've got Lightning Bolt, Mire, Swamp, Unknown. Lightning Bolt, Mire, Swamp, Unknown. They still don't have good attacks here. They could fetch shock, represent bolt themselves to make their shadow bigger than my shadows. So I'm just going to stub this so they can't take my Battle Rage. Now I know they've got Bolt, and I know I can play around it. They can't bolt me in the face. I don't care if they attack with this shadow. I block and they bolt themselves to kill my shadow because I just have a lethal attacker with this other one. Mark, how's it going? Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday. I think we're in pretty solid shape here. I think this has just got to be pass from them. Like, they don't really want to fetch here because then it forces the chump blocks. Let's go to attacks, crash in. And doesn't matter, but we'll just battle rage this one because YOLO. All right. On to game number 2. So against the Jund mirror. Hand disruption gets like so much worse because of Veil of Summer. Kind of like Plague Engineer here. Being able to tag snakes is pretty nice. And the hope here is that we get to show off the power of being passive in the mirror. And if anybody's wondering what the heck I'm talking about, if you didn't get to see the PTQ, let's see if I can find this fantastic screenshot. We killed a Jund Shadow Mirror opponent without ever going below 20 life. We cast 4 spells the entire game. We cast a Hex Drinker, they pushed it, Tarmogoyf, and then bolted a Shadow and had lethal. And they kind of sat there and like played around played with Veil of Summer up the entire game. And I thought it was really funny. But kind of like solidified what I've been saying for a while, is that the mirror is just like not a race. You just don't have to be like fetch shock, Thoughtseize, Wraith, fetch shock. Oh, I'm at 4 life with the 9/9 Shadow. Bolt you. Dang. Probably should have boarded out some number of stubs, especially against the Hex Drinker version. If it were like my version with more Assassin's trophies and Ren and 6 and stuff like that, I'd probably want the stubs a little bit more. But against their version, they're a little bit weaker. No, opponent, come back. Baby, come back. All right. So while we wait for our opponent to reconnect, let's throw up the list over here. Does anybody have any questions about card choices, about matchups, anything we can fill dead air time with? Thoughts about more Ren and 6 to fight the control decks? I'm assuming you mean out of Jund, yeah. I haven't wanted to buy Ren and 6s, so they're still like awkward caution tape border. I wouldn't mind extra Ren and 6s, especially if the mirror is starting to come down to Hex Drinker. Like, I feel like we're not badly positioned against Hex Drinker anyway. but second Wrenn and 6 isn't the worst idea in the world. Hexdrinker is a really good card against the blue-white control decks. It's like if you can just get it, level it up to 4, get around Path, it's a really efficient threat. So a line of like, play out your threat on 2, they Teferi, bounce it, and you like play your 4th mana Hexdrinker, level it up 3 times is really nice. That being said, I think there's probably better Haymakers than Wrenn in the control matchups. But at the moment, I'm not sure what they would be. Like, if it were Mystic Sanctuary decks again, I'd jam a couple chokes in the sideboard and, like, call it a day. I don't think Blood Moon is out of the question. I think the deck could support Blood Moon. You just might need to swap, like, second Nurturing Peatland for second Swamp. Something like that. Because you want to be able to escape Kroxa through a Blood Moon. And that's probably a direction I need to test some more, is how Blood Moon would shore up some of our worst matchups. Like, is Blood Moon a better option against Tron? Is it better against the control decks? Things like that. But I have not tried Blood Moon out of Jund yet. So you kind of have to take that with a disclaimer, grain of salt. Hopefully that helps. I don't think Wrenn and 6 is bad. Second Wrenn and 6 is A-okay with me. Tips against the rock matchup. Seems like they just run so much removal, 3 to 4 Lilianas. Do you mean tips with Jund or Grixis or any particular build? Because, like, with Grixis, it's all about Gurmag Angler. Like, Gurmag and Stubborn Denial can usually win that matchup kind of on their own. Because, like you said, they do have Liliana, but Liliana and Assassin's Trophy and maybe like a Maelstrom Pulse are the only ways that they can get Gurmag Angler off the board. If they just like keep hands with multiple Lilianas or multiple Assassin's Trophies, it's rough. Like, there's not really an easy answer to that one. Can you help me with my Temur Moon deck? Pretty please. I know absolutely nothing about Temur Moon. If you're wanting me to take a look at it, I would be happy to and give my non-expert Temur Moon opinion. So, opponent looking like they want to rep Veil of Summer pretty aggressively. That's fine. So a lot of times opponents don't really recognize when holding up Veil of Summer is like good versus counterproductive. What I mean by that is, like, our opponent could have thought seized us on turn 1 and chose to hold up Veil, which is fine. Like, I have no problem with that line whatsoever. Turn 2, they thought seize and hold up Veil, like, don't get down a threat or anything. Turn 3 here, they're not getting down a threat. And it's like, alright, you've got Veil, that's cool, but if you're not doing anything, you're not really taking advantage of that Veil. Thomas coming in with a 7-month resub. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the continued subscriber support. Infect stream win. When Infect is playable. Got him. Got him. When somebody in the stream donates for Infect, how about that? just discard a stub. Mark coming in with a 3-month resub. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome back to the subscribers as well. I really wonder, like, how many Scourge of the Skyclaves my opponent's sitting on right now. I'm not going to play into it. I guess I could with, like, Lightning Bolt Dismember now. They have a lot of basics. Add Luris. Sure. Kind of surprised they have so many basics. We might get Blood Moon. I don't know. That'd be unfortunate, but slightly less unfortunate. So if we go you. And I don't want to just pass the turn in case they try to, like, Assassin's Trophy my EE or something. You got it. Tarmogoyf, sure. Let's see. I just want to, like, go ahead and force the Veil now. Yep. I, for one, am shocked. I never saw it coming. I thought Veil was just a myth. This does put me in a bit of a rough spot against Scourge of the Skyclaves. It's like now it's out of bolt range. Yep, never saw it coming. Something. Maybe in the Gurmag Angler family. Possibly. Hope opponent doesn't disconnect again. Where's our repeal to bounce and set this EE on 2? Not in the deck. That is clearly a deck building oversight. If we'd fit... Alright, hear me out. We fit in some repeals, some Mox Ambers, maybe some, like, Arios to take advantage of us casting all these spells. Like Teferi Time Ravelers, because we don't want opponents interacting with our Ario and stuff like that. We could also just Teferi to bounce our Mox Amber, to replay it, to repeal it. What else could we play in this crazy brew of ours? Monastery Mentor, take advantage of all these Mox Ambers we're playing and bouncing and replaying. Right there going, opponent might time out, which I really don't want them to do. Alright. So Mark will check out your deck list while I've got a little bit of downtime. I'll take it, and I want the Hunt Masters. You will never hear me say, no, don't play Hunt Master of the Fells. Alright. So, if this is Temur Moon, is there any reason that there's only 2 Blood Moons? Isn't that like the point of the deck is to have Blood Moon in your Moon deck? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't claim to be an expert on Blood Moon. So, Snapcaster, Goyf, Tracker, Hunt Master, Renin 6, Fork Bolt, Lightning Bolt, Opt, Serum Vision, Spell Snare, Mana Leak, Remand Cryptic, EE, Blood Moon. Usually the Temur Moon decks are splash green for Goyf. Agreed. I don't really mind, like, Renin 6 in the list. It's really easy to play under Blood Moon and just get back mana sources. I'm not a huge fan of Fork Bolt. It seems like a pretty underwhelming removal spell. Like, even something like, if you're looking at killing something, Electrolyze could be better and has upside. Don't necessarily have to win with Blood Moon. It's just there, and green is for creatures. Let's see. So the idea is to be like blue-red control, splash green for threats, right? So since you've got like Cryptic Command, Remand, Mana Leak, Spell Snare, Lightning Bolt, like blue-red is the base, and then the threats coming down is green. But like, you don't really want to fetch Breeding Pool or Stomping Ground. You want to fetch like basic forest, right? Huh. So like Fork Bolt can go face. How relevant is the 2 divided? Like, would it be better to have something like, oh, you want a sorcery for like Tarmogoyf? Like, being able to go face is cool, but what about that new Kaldheim card? God. 6 spoiler. For everybody wondering why we're sitting here, our opponent has disconnected and we're just waiting for them to reconnect. Not Strixhaven. Kaldheim. Is this an instant or sorcery? Could have sworn it was a sorcery. Somewhere down here. Somewhere. Frost. Oh no, it's a snow instant. Never mind. Come back list. Well, it's already got the snow basics. That's why I was wondering about that one. Pillar Flame. Pillar of Flame. 2 damage to target creature or player. If creature dealt damage this way would die, exile it. I guess to me it's the 2 damage part of it is kind of what I'm not a fan of. Because, like, you're not killing, like, opposing Tarmogoyfs or something like that. Like, red base removal decks have a huge problem dealing with things like opposing Tarmogoyfs. Because they just, like, dodge every removal spell that you've got, just about. Which is why I wonder if something like Roast would be better. Two divide is good for planeswalkers on 1-2. Sure, but that is kind of narrow, right? I don't know, like that's... I guess I would say like Fork Bolt and then the Wrenn and Blood Moon split is kind of the only two things that I'm iffy on in the deck. I like Sinkhole. Magmatic Sinkhole or whatever. I like that card a lot. It is an instant, but... I don't know. I don't think it's crap at all. There's just some of the, like, the numbers that I think are conflicting. Like the Wrenn and 6 Blood Moon. Like, you want Blood Moon... you don't want Wrenn and 6 when you want Blood Moon, and you don't want Blood Moon when you have Wrenn and 6. So that's like a bit of a nombo. And then Fork Bolt, like, I guess I just think you're putting too much emphasis on the sorcery part and not enough on the just playing like a good spell there. Also, do you want Relic or do you want Lantern, Soul Guide Lantern? Because like Relic forces you to pop all graveyards. So it's going to shrink your Goyf, where Soul Guide, you can just hit your opponent's graveyard. Is opponent back yet? Nope. Down to 2.5 minutes, so I don't think they're going to be able to win a third game. If you play Sinkhole, you got to cut the serums and add Thought Scours. I don't know if you do, because you do still have like 4, 8, 9 fetches, plus like a lot of cheap interaction to fill your graveyard. I think you can keep Serum. Relic being good against opposing Goyfs. I mean, like, that's fair, but are you okay nuking your own Goyfs to kind of cut back on your opponents? Alright. Dang. I don't like winning a match to my opponent timing out. Actually, I'm going to run grab some water real quick before the next match. So I'll be right back. I'll keep Mark's list up. So if y'all want to keep debating it. Gotta move a chair real quick. Gonna take like 2 extra seconds. Keep discussing the list. All right. Had to move a roommate's gaming chair. What have I missed? Relic, play Surgical. Bloodbraid Elf. I like Bloodbraid Elf. But Bloodbraid Elf into Spell Snare, Mana Link Remand is a little bit awkward. Like Brazen Borrower over Yi. All pretty sweet suggestions, to truth be told. So let's get to match number 4. If we end up like trophying this league, I gotta put an asterisk next to it with our opponent timing out in match 3. Bloodbraid Elf into Ancestral. Living the dream. Like, all I want out of Modern Horizons 2, my only thing on the wish list is Shardless Agent. That's it. I just want to cascade into, like, Goyfs and Shadows and Snapcaster Mages and all the fun stuff. That's all I want. It's easy. Hand disruption, removal, threat. I guess. Shut up, no you don't. Yes, I do. Yes, you could play Shardless Agent and Infect. How sweet would that be? Shardless Agent into a pump spell with an empty board. It's perfect. Literally couldn't be bad. You don't know about that because you're not willing to try. Ooh, spirits. Guess I'm just gonna take a Rattle Chains. Like, my opponent's more likely to play out Spectral Sailor turn 1. But like Rattle Chains, they might hold up, save it to protect something later. And I don't really want them saving it to protect something later. Alright, so I'm just seeing if I draw like a lightning bolt or something off of this bauble that I might want to play instead. Easy play Uro in the sideboard. Yeah, Thomas, just do that. Duh. Might have to try an Infect League. Not sure how you approach the Prowess matchup. Playing Invisible Stalker, I guess. Yeah, that's definitely a rough one. But like Steven said, if you get matched up against Hayashi, just play 4 Uros in the sideboard. Literally can't beat it. I know this from experience. Alright. So let's get down a Gurmag. Yeah, we'll just delve out. Keep Dismember in case we draw like a Snapcaster and we want to snap Dismember later. Rattle Chains comes in, trigger on the stack. We'll just go ahead and knock that thing out. So hear me out. Instead of some counter spells, how about Snakeskin Veil? You mean out of Infect? I think Infect needs like some number of counter spells. Because like you can't Snakeskin Veil a Chalice of the Void, for example. Can't Snakeskin Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Snakeskin Veil for 5 ticks Pummeler. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with canola oil. I don't think I die next turn. Famous last words. But I think I am presenting lethal next turn. My opponent has another Rattle Chains. I'm a little sad. Little upsetty spaghetti. Does Snakeskin Veil say creature you control? Like, does it get around Spellskite? Not that Spellskite's exactly a format warping card at the moment. Hand is probably all Skyclaves. I'm hoping so. I'm really hoping so. It does say creatures you control. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. They always draw that one Moorland Haunt. They do, but if they activate it, they probably die. So it's a good and a bad side, I guess. Like, they're at 14, which means a Gurmag plus a Battle Rage is trampling through a 1/1 blocker. Guess we've got that to fall back on, too. Alright. Am I going for Battle Rage? What are the odds I think I'm going to get another turn? Like, if their plan is... Like, the problem's not Queller. Because if I Queller and I Dismember, they can Mausoleum Wanderer my Dismember and it just stops. If their plan is to have me go for Battle Rage, they respond by Moorland Haunt, make a token, and then sack Queller. Or sack Mausoleum Wanderer. Then that works, and I need to Dismember first. Am I winning if they have a Queller? Or if they have a Mausoleum... Not Mausoleum Wanderer, like, am I winning if the game goes longer than this turn? Probably. Let's say I pay for Dismember the Mausoleum Wanderer. They spell Queller. I'm just dead on board. If I go for Battle Rage, they make a token, sack Mausoleum Wanderer. They've got 3 power on the crackback. I'm not dead. So yeah, I think it's go for... Am I dead if they have Spell Queller, though? I think I just, like, can't beat Spell Queller. So if I can't beat Spell Queller, I'm just going to assume they don't have it. That also works. Alright. That is worse than Spell Queller for me. So yeah, if I had gone for Battle Rage first, they could have flashed in the Captain. Why don't you just TBR and cast Shadow if it gets countered because I'm dead on the crackback. Like they had... if the line they took, they had Mausoleum Wanderer. I cast TBR. Let's see. I cast Battle Rage. They flash in the Drog Skull. Sack the Mausoleum Wanderer to counter the Battle Rage. They've got 2, 3, 4, 5 power on the crackback. I guess we're not dead. Both cards were unknown. Yeah, we're probably not dead in that situation. That's fair. Let's see. If TBR is removal, I'll just take it against 2 unknown cards. If it's Queller. If it's Queller... If they had had Queller instead of Drog Skull, we were dead to a Lord on their turn. I think that's kind of what I was trying to avoid, was just being dead to a Lord. Sure. And kind of slow roll a play or two. Alright. So fetch out. Tapped whatever. Turn turn 2, play Channeler. This Vial. Really don't want to see a Vial with this hand. This might end up being just like Channeler beats. And if that's the case, I wouldn't mind finding one more land. I guess that's also pretty good. Just go ahead and get Plague Engineer down. So they can't go for like end of turn, Rattle Chains, or whatever the 1/1 dude is that draws cards. I can absolutely have Skyclave Apparition here, which kind of sucks, but that's not Skyclave Apparition mana. Okay. File in Auriok Champion. Sure. So go upkeep. I don't know if they're going to do this. You pitch a card, I'll blow up an Aether Vial. I was going to go to upkeep for that. So if they spell Queller, they'd have to like spend their mana on their turn casting Queller. Discarding Moorland Haunt might be a sign that they don't have an answer to Plague Engineer. Which is kind of the feeling I'm getting at the moment. So attacking here because I'm not really interested in pitching a card to Channeler just yet. Auriok Champion, more like Snoriok Champion. So clever. Got him. Yeah, like I'm hoping to just get these Magmatic Channelers active. Alright. Let's... God, I really don't want to ditch a Battle Rage either. So let's just attack in. Hiya. Is that a spicy leaf vape? If by spicy leaf vape you mean Pilot G2 ballpoint pen, yes. Yes, it is. Alright. Decided to move away from the get Magmatic Channeler online plan as soon as I saw Gurmag Angler. It's going to be really good at beating through this Auriok champion for us. Alright. I need opponent. Not what I meant, but damn, you didn't have to flex on me. My bad. My bad. What does opponent have? They're not casting anything. Are they just like sitting on spell quellers and things? Guess we get to find out. So let's Inquisition. 4 more Auriok champions. Path my Plague Engineer. Okay. But about our Inquisition. Like second path for Gurmag. So they were really getting shut down by Plague Engineer. What kind of sick dab pin is that? It's the limited edition Pilot G2. Clearly. Alright. So we're going to need to start killing things. Violin rattle chains, yep. So we respond to this with push on, or do they, they targeted themselves. They're in rattle chains. Go ahead and push this. Sure. Want to sack a Wanderer to save a Wanderer, that's fine. Go to their upkeep and dismember this. Again, if you want to sack a dude to save a dude, we're okay. So the last card at the moment is Selfless Spirit. And our last card is Temur Battle Rage. Pay 1. No. No. I refuse. Auriok's annoying. Auriok is not the most fun card to play against. It's kind of strange that they ticked Vial up to 3. So, what's my plan? I can attack for 18. They can gain up to 20 before damage with Selfless Spirit. So I can't kill them. So if I'm not killing them, probably don't need to go all in here. So what I'm going to do is play Shadow. Hope they don't have Spell Queller. But I was going to say play Shadow, hold up Magmatic Channeler, pitching Battle Rage. This is 5 coming at me, 2 unknowns, 1 unknown. Hoser cards are unfortunately necessary in Modern. I agree. They really are. And unfortunately, the Grixis Color Pie doesn't really have access to a lot of them. Not without going like heavy red-blue, playing Blood Moon, or like heavy in one section to do something like that. Like the mana bases in Modern are really good for like putting Auriok Champion in your X-White deck, regardless of what your X-White deck is. They're not so great at like putting Blood Moon into your heavy white pit deck. You can, but it's awkward. And especially not Blood Moon in your 3-color deck now that Astrolabe's gone and Uro's gone. Well, white's always been like the hoser color of the pie, right? Like you get access to Rest in Peace, Stony Silence, Auriok Champion, Path to Exile is like cleanest removal spell in the format. Alright. So I've got 2 options. I can use a Channeler to pitch the Street Wraith and try to hit removal or like Inquisition, Thoughtseize, something like that, so that I can know what's in hand before I go for the Battle Rage. The downside is that if my opponent has got like Spell Queller, I guess not Spell Queller, it'd be like Skyclave Apparition. Or we're not beating Skyclave anyway, are we? No, I just need to go to attacks, because if they only declare 1 blocker and I Battle Rage, I guess I'm still dead to Spell Queller that way. I beat Spell Queller by just ditching Street Wraith and hitting Hand Disruption. I don't beat Spell Queller by attacking and going for Battle Rage. I think I beat everything that's not Spell Queller by attacking and Battle Raging. They didn't Spell Queller when I played Shadow a couple turns ago, so I think we're just going for it. This Battle Rage is going to turn the Channelers into 4/4s. So my assumption is they block Shadow. And I Battle Rage. Is this Skyclave Apparition? Drog Skull Captain. Sure. I beat that. So let's Battle Rage. Shadow. Like I said, this will put 4 in the yard to turn these to 4/4s. So opponent is very much the dead. On to game 3. Alright. So we still haven't seen Skyclave Apparition. I don't think we saw one game 1. Not that that means I think they don't have it. I'm just wondering if I need to be like harder in on the stopping path plan. Brutality is a little bit worse on the draw. Alright. Let's see. Path is second worst removal in game after Assassin's Trophy. Wait, like you're legitimately saying Path is bad removal? So you might have to disagree on that one. If one of these lands were a Battle Rage, I would snap keep this in a heartbeat. Path is better than bacon to a pie. You shut your mouth. Don't you disrespect bacon to a pie on my watch. Opponent keeps having these like decent hands. So what am I taking? Take Mausoleum Wanderer, and then next turn I'll probably Thoughtseize. I'm guessing they're gonna play like or not Supreme Phantom, Selfless Spirit here. Maybe. Bacon to a Pie was a banger in Eldrazi Limited. So yeah, there's Selfless Spirit. So let's go. Thoughtseize. Probably take Shackle, guys. Take that one. That one. We almost got torched. Path is not good at all. Ceremonious Rejection hits Worm Coil too, and they don't get a land. Like, I'm honestly not sure in the slightest if we're trolling at this point, or because like the comparisons to me aren't making any sense whatsoever. Like, would I rather have Path or Swords to Plowshares? Would I rather have the one that's like a staple in Legacy and not legal in Modern, or not like printed into a Modern legal set? Or I was getting really confused there when they said Black Spirit Spell for a second. Land. Sweet. Let me snap push. Alright, let me get this snap push off. Then opponent, next turn we can start figuring out if you can do anything. Do you have a Spell Queller? God, Drog Skull Captain, come on. It's a heck of a blind rip. So what are my outs here? Kozilek's return would be pretty good. Assuming they didn't also rip the Queller. Kozilek's return. Can still draw it. But I need to know if it's on top of my library. Because if it is, I can't play Gurmag Angler. Big Shadow Energy, Big Shadow Energy, Big Shadow Energy. Dang. Alright. Wonder how far away one was. Dismember probably wasn't good enough. Alright, there's a ways. Boo. Alright. What have I missed in chat? Let's see. I do agree that Path is not a great piece of removal. Giving the opponent a land, especially in the early game, can lose you in spots. You could have won with other removal that not... If we could have Swords or Path, we're taking Swords. Path just isn't a good card to me. I get it 1 mana, and it's what we got in Modern. I'm not saying don't play it. It's just an ass card. I guess I have to hard disagree on this one. Like, the reason that Path is so good is it's 1 mana unconditional. Like, indestructible. Doesn't care. Have leave the battlefield ability or death trigger. Doesn't care. Size of the creature. Doesn't care. CMC. Doesn't care. Instant speed. Like, Path just does everything you want out of a removal spell, and the downside is giving your opponent a land. Like, unless you're pathing their 1-drop or like 2-drop on your turn, that land's probably not mattering much anyway. Alright. Guess I gotta take Lily. You're up there, Buffalo Wild Wings, waiting on me. Where are you at? You're like 24, 26 hours too late. Alright, what's my path to winning here? Is it like... Thoughtseize, push, play Shadow, deal with Stoneforge, Daylight savings time got me again. I think you're overestimating daylight savings time. Alright. Going to B-dubs always. Path is really good against Shadow for sure, but that's because we're greedy as hell playing with 2 basics and we always draw those basics. I wouldn't say always. At least a non-zero number at the time I don't draw the basics. Alright. Something. We'll deal with the Lily when we get there. Okay. So they put in Batterskull. Ironically enough, Batterskull hitting me in the face is good for me. No, opponent, you're supposed to attack me with the Batterskull. Fetch land. Who? Oh, baby, I'm triple. Let's see. So... is it lethal if they block with both? It's not lethal if they block with both, but that means they're just like putting in a sword. Like, if I Battle Rage, or if I Dismember the Germ... yeah, so I'm attacking, dismembering the Germ. Yeah. No block. Alright, so they're just saying, like, they can't beat the Battle Rage anyway. And I respect that. Like, that's a good line from our opponent. A lot of times you'll see them, like, block and try to beat Battle Rage or something, or, like, not die inside of combat. Or block and say, like, alright, well, I'm just going to take 6 less if you don't have the Battle Rage, whatever. But, like, if we have the Battle Rage, they're dead whether they block or not. So not blocking them gives them the most chances of winning on their turn. So, good block opponent. Alright, K command's great. How much am I expecting, like, Lingering Souls? Danny, we're currently 3-1. We lost to, Oh, what did we lose last? Spirits. Blue-white spirits last round. Could have been Bant. We saw Waterlord Grove, but we didn't see Company or Hierarch. Alright, Trade Binder. Drop some Inquisitions. Drop Battle Rages. And we're picking up what? Brutality and... Am I expecting Auriok Champion out of their deck? Probably should. Over what? Go like that. You white or blue oak runs off-color canopy lands. Yeah, I figured they probably did, but like I don't want to just assume that my opponent wasn't Bant since we saw Bant-colored lands. Like, do I realistically think they were Bant? No. But I don't want to just say, no, they weren't Bant when we, like I said, saw a Bant mana base. Please don't take my good ones. Control Freak is also currently drafting in a Vintage Cube Phantom Draft League. Right, with like the most horrible Vintage Cube deck ever that I just like refuse to finish my cube with. Take my Snapcaster. Interesting. Huh. These aren't Magic cards I expected after game one. Will Hall coming in with the raid. Thank you so much, buddy. Hope you had a fantastic stream. I saw that you were playing some Death Shadow earlier, but I was like just getting ready to start up when I hopped on Twitch. Greetings to both Will and everybody coming over from Will's stream. But I want to hear how Shadow went. Break it down for me. You don't give gas pizza, my boy takes you down. I will never claim to like be in the same league as Will. I know my place. It's like way down here. I get it. I know. For everybody coming over, yeah, we're playing some Grixis Shadow. We're currently 3-1. Playing in match number 5 of our first league. So we're kind of seeing where Grixis stacks up at the moment. We're playing a little bit of a red heavier build with like lightning bolts in the main, Magmatic Channeler. A little less all in on your typical Grixis cards. And after game one of seeing like nothing that made us think our opponent was on Eldrazi and Taxes, we've got Thought Knot and Thought Knot Reality Smasher out of an Inquisition reveal or Thoughtseeds reveal. So now we just have no idea what's going on, and the world is our oyster, and oysters are scary. So this is what we're doing. Added, thank you so much for the follow. I hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday. Magmatic Channeler looks really neat. It's been pretty solid, I have to admit. I can't complain about the card. Like, I'm not saying that it's tier 0, has to be in all of your shadow decks, but it's solid. And I like solid Magic cards. Alright, best draw here is what? I guess technically Caves of Koilos probably should have like tipped us off that it was Eldrazi and Taxes. Probably could have thought about that one a little better. let's think. We've got Smasher next turn. If I cycle Wraith, what's my plan here? Like, I can cycle Wraith, attack with Shadow, not shock in the Watery Grave. I could shock and attack for 5 and see what they do. Like, I'm not dead on the crackback, and I'm presenting lethal on my crackback. Am I trading Gurmag Angler for Reality Smasher? Probably. It's like, that's the kind of thing that you have to think of. If I'm attacking for 5 here, if I'm shocking attacking for 5, then I have to be okay with trading Gurmag for Reality Smasher. And I think I am. And that was the blowout potential of this attack. So that was a very good suggested line by David. So let's play out Channeler. Is there any reason to hold up double black? Not really, but it's kind of free. Alright, so I'm going to crack a bauble on my turn so I can draw that first card, and then I'm going to crack the second bauble on their turn in case the card ends up being like Fatal Push. There's no way to control it, but it would give me more play against like a Thought Knot on their side. Stoneforge, sure. Congrats on your crafty play. You said it. I think I would have gotten to a similar situation or similar line eventually. But I'm very, very methodical when it comes to Shadow. So I just like taking my time with lines and usually come to the same conclusion. Sometimes, maybe. Alright. So, advantages, disadvantages of going for lethal here. 1, we don't have lethal, so we can't go for lethal. They got Batterskull. I don't really care about Batterskull. So I think we're just going K-Return Swing. Scour turns on Channeler. It'll be lethal. It'll be lethal if they don't have a removal spell. But if I go for that line, it means I'm not playing out Shadow. Do we know their hand completely? Thought Knot's here is what they're drawing. Oh no, we do know their hand completely. You're right. So then, yeah, it's pretty free. Pretty free. So we can just like double threat here. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let's play Shadow. Play Gurmag. Keep Dismember in the yard in case we draw Snapcaster. Say go. Please don't Damnation me. Big bucks. No damnations. You got it. I appreciate opponents' tenacity. Okay. Fair enough. Couldn't we just K-return to kill Stoneforge and make Channeler 4/4? We couldn't. We only had... I don't think we had any or any instant or sorceries. Was it? I thought we had 2 baubles and 2 fetch lands in the yard. Am I just like completely blind here? Scroll so far. We're gonna find out. Something. Magic cards. Take something. Still something. Play the something. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, while we're figuring out what happened here, if y'all want to decide what shadow variant we're playing next, basically everything's up for possibility. Yeah, see, like... This is what I was thinking. We definitely didn't have Channeler anywhere near online. All we had was Mishra's, Baubles, Wraiths, and Island. So Thought Scour would have had to have hit over like double spell for a Channeler to be online. So, ha! I wasn't crazy. Alright. K Dorse, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you're at in the world. I'll show the Esper list so that people can decide if... Why is that here? This is not the Esper list. Why are Tarmogoyfs in here? Go away. Go away. Why are there Veil of Summers in here? Somebody been messing with my list. If you have one more instant or sorcery, K return would have been lethal there. Yes. But we didn't. So, 4 Goyf and no green source. So this is kind of like the base of the Esper deck. It's got like more Teferis and stuff, and we got to fix sideboard slots, but you kind of get the idea here. This is an option. We've also got Jund. We could play either like the list we top 16 the PTQ with this past weekend, or the list that was in the finals of the mocks, the 4 Hex Drinker list. We've got another League of Grixis if we want. Grixis green. Yeah, we can do a vote. Let's think options. So, Esper red. Or we'll just put like Esper. Grixis. Jund. 4 color. What else? Guess we got other options. Let's see. Have you played recently the Black White or Mardu Shadow with Ranger Captain of Eos? I like that version of the deck. I've played those versions. I don't think Ranger Captain is good in shadow decks ever since Faithless Looting got banned. Like, I think Ranger Captain by itself is a cool card. Alright, so we got a vote going on right now. So if you're wanting to see a particular list, we've got Esper, Grixis, Jund, and 4-color is the available options. Just type Esper for Esper, red, Grixis for Grixis, Jund for Jund, or 4C for 4-color. And we'll let that vote go on for a bit. But Ranger Captain is very underwhelming when your best lines kind of include, like, turn 3 Ranger Captain, turn 4 Shadow in a format where, like, Tron, Amulet, Titan decks like that exist. So you're trying to play, like, this more fair, interactive mid-range game, and you just don't really have the grind potential to make that work. So that's been kind of my issue with Ranger Captain. When Faithless Looting was around and you could, like, looting away a Ranger Captain on turn 1, unearth it on turn 2, get a shadow, play it out, it was nuts. But before then, it was very, very rough. Alright, so it looks like Jund won the vote. What we'll do is we'll, like, put Esper and maybe Mardu on the docket for tomorrow or Friday. That way we can, like, get to all the variations. But we'll see.